Hello world, you're watching 80s Music Twin Ranked, and today we're talking about Al.
You can call me Betty.
No, we're actually not gonna talk about Betty. We're assuming Betty is Garfunkle.
No, the story is a guy that was introducing him and his wife called Paul Simon Al.
Okay. Oh, you're right.
And his
you're
wife
right.
Betty.
I did hear that. Yes.
And her name is Peggy.
That's true. I did.
And I was thinking last night, and I was so wrong. I'm like, of course you can call him Al because that's the last two letters of his name,
No, it's
Paul.
not.
And it's not. It's U-L. I don't know why I was thinking
Yes.
P-U-A-L.
So they got rid of the P-U. Now, Simon and Garfunkel were originally called Tom
and Jerry, yes.
Is that because of the cartoon?
No, it's Jerry Landis and Tom. I can't remember the guy's Tom's last name. They're two idols of both of those guys.
Right.
Now, speaking of Tom and Jerry, what's your favorite episode? Is it the one?
The drums.
What?
Where
The drums?
He put the dog to sleep.
And he bangs the drums to make sure?
Yeah, he's like banging the drums and his face to try to wake him up, and he couldn't do it. That's
my favorite is when Tom has the drawing board. It's like a big elaborate thing.
I also like where he's singing to the girl and he says, "Is you is my baby?" Or anyways, I can't remember exactly what it's saying. And then Jerry's lighting a match in his toes. Okay.
Or how about when he runs around the corner and hits a frying pan or an iron?
And he's the shape of
his head is the shape of whatever he hit.
Yes, that's always. Anyways, cartoons just aren't like they used to be. Okay, now back to Simon. Paul Simon is who we're actually doing. We're not doing Simon and Garfunkel,
Although we are.
I mean, we do.
We're including
because they
those
were
hits.
together. We're including those, but we did not branch out to Art Garfunkel's singles because he had some.
Right.
And guaranteed they weren't as good because he's got the name Art Garfunkel. Now, Paul and Art, they could have called him Paul and Art, right? First time they ever used surnames for a band. That's what I heard.
Yeah, okay.
Simon and Art, their last names. Quick quiz. Give me some more.
What, surnames or
Bands that use surnames only.
Hall Notes?
There you go.
Okay.
So we probably got
That was
the most famous 70s duo and the
Right.
most famous 80s duo right there with their last name.
Right.
There's also...
so Paul Simon has this movie,
right.
One Trick Pony. He wrote it. I don't think he directed it, but he wrote it, started it. And he had other bands that he opened for in the movie.
B-52s were in it.
B-52s were in it, but also Sam and Dave. So they used their... they had a hit. I couldn't tell you what it was. We mentioned them in another one of our videos.
Did we? Okay.
Because they had...
You did.
Because they had a song that was a cover for another band that we did.
All right. But here's some more. Crosby, Stills, and Nash.
Right.
Wilson Phillips.
Which...
We know what we do it next week?
Yeah, we'll
the Beach
mention
Boys. Could have did them this week, but since we already said we were going to do a duo, we stuck to our guns.
Yeah, so because Brian Wilson just died, we'll do the Beach Boys next.
No.
Although, that's not technically true because we were on our way to doing the Beach Boys
I gave you the list before Brian
But it just happens that we ranked them, I gave it to you to put our list together, and then that week he died. So
we did not kill him.
Yes.
By some hex giving lists. All right, let's go through some neat stuff, I think, regarding famous people that he's kind of connected to. Okay, so now Simon and Garfunkel did Mrs. Robinson, which was in the movie The Graduate.
Right. They were originally going to call her Mrs. It was an R. What was the...
Oh, yeah, Roosevelt.
Okay, yeah, Mrs. Roosevelt, that's right.
Yes.
And Mike Nichols said, "This is Mrs. Robinson."
Right, that was her character.
Well,
name.
I don't know if that was her character's name, but maybe it was.
Was that from a book?
What, The Graduates?
Graduate.
I don't know.
Maybe it was from a book,
Probably
and
not.
that was the character's name. Okay. Anyways, but I think that song was originally on an album of theirs and then put in the movie. I think. But anyway, so Dustin Hoffman's in that movie, right?
Yes.
Okay. Paul Simon. They also did music for the movie Shampoo.
Yeah, Warren Beatty.
starring Warren Beatty. And what movie are
Ishtar, yes.
Ishtar. And they play two has-been musicians.
Yeah.
That's Simon and Garfunkel.
Yeah. And I think that scene where they show them playing in that room is hilarious. So.
Yeah, I actually, if you remember, that's one of my guilty pleasures.
Yes,
in our
yeah,
video. I actually liked that movie, even though it was a box office bomb. All right, next, you'll like this, Taiku. Okay, so he's been married 3 times, right? One, is he still married to Edie Brickell, or did they divorce?
I don't know.
And she sings the "What I Am" song, which is a one-hit wonder.
Right.
Right, and their band was the New Bohemians, which whatever that is. He was previously married to Carrie Fisher. She's dead already, but okay. So he was married to Carrie Fisher, and You Can Call Me Al. Who's the comedian with?
Chevy Chase.
And what movie were they in together?
Oh, yes, okay.
Under the Rainbow.
Right.
Also, probably not a great.
Yeah,
movie.
did you watch that video again?
No, what the whole movie?
You can
call me out.
with-
Yes, I
with
did.
Chevy. So there's a couple of funny things in there. One, how short he is compared to Chevy Chase.
He is very short.
But it looked like at the beginning that he was going to sing and then Chevy took over.
Right.
But the pan flute, whistle flute, whatever that thing is that
Yes.
he's playing,
Yeah.
he doesn't hardly move his fingers. He's more like just this.
Yeah, it's like
And-
playing a recorder but blowing one note.
Yeah, but his thumb goes up at one, or his pinky finger goes up, but that's it.
Okay.
And one, Chevy Chase drinks that glass and then pretends to put it down on a table, which is not a table, it's a stand for the drum, and it just drops through because there's no glass, obviously.
Okay, in a later, and there really is, Boy in the Bubble is probably the last song I remember on the radio.
Yeah.
He did have another hit.
He just had an album in 2023.
I know.
Yeah.
But there's another video later called Proof.
Yeah.
It actually had Chevy Chase in it again with Steve Martin and then Paul Simon. And Paul Simon, because he's short, probably replaced Martin Short,
yeah.
who was also short. And there's the 3 of you guys. Anyway, that video was not funny really either. They were in a parade. Okay, did you know that Paul Simon helped form the song "Life in a Northern Town" by the Dream Academy?
No.
Yes, I consider that a negative. It's one of my. If we were to put a list,
Didn't the Professor of Rock just
Yes,
do
he
something
did.
with them? Yeah.
if we were to put a list of the top 10 worst songs of the '80s that were hits, that would be one of mine.
Yeah, but Professor Rock just did. One of his videos was on Life in a Northern Town.
Yeah. And
How they put that out, and it was like, whoa, wow! And then they had no hits since.
They did have another top 40 hit,
Okay.
but I couldn't tell you what it was.
All right.
All right, and then Paul Simon did have a small part in Annie Hall.
But Art Garfunkel, he starred in more movies. He was like in Catch-22, I think.
And Carnal Knowledge.
Carnal Knowledge, of course, but that was more Jack Nicholson's.
Yeah, and he had his own movie that I can't remember what it's called. Both of them were in the second episode of Saturday Night Live ever. Paul Simon famously was in a turkey outfit, and he stopped the song short and complained about it being embarrassed. Okay, and I think Art Garfunkel did have a brief part in that episode.
Okay.
Like, Paul Simon could recall meeting all sorts of people. Art Garfunkel came up to him and he couldn't remember him. And I've seen that joke before, like with Aunt Jennifer Aniston, I think.
Okay, yeah.
With David Schwimmer. I think they did the same thing. So. All right, and there's another artist that is on our list of We Are the World people.
Right.
He was the third one,
Yes.
right after Lionel Richie and Stevie
Right.
Wonder, and then Paul Simon.
He's one of those guys. I'm not a big fan of him. A couple good songs I really like. You Call Me Out, of course. But when you hear his name, it's almost like he's up there legendary, like Paul McCartney. You know.
Yeah. See, obviously, when you look at the two,
Yeah.
if you were to say before they broke off solo, who's going to have the better career? I think you would have known Paul Simon.
Yeah.
Art Garfunkel, he just had a look about him, and then his name, not star power right
Yeah.
there. Okay, so I think that is all I. Oh, by the way, supposedly, at the time it was released, "Bridge Over Troubled Waters" was the top-selling album
Yes.
of all time.
Right.
I looked at the list. It showed the list in sequence of when it happened. It didn't make that list, so I don't know if they said that and it wasn't true because I couldn't find that it was actually true.
Okay. It wasn't. It was at least their biggest album.
It
I
was.
think.
Yeah.
So,
And I think most of the albums prior to that
yeah.
were like soundtracks.
And also, Paul Simon's the one that did most of the work on that album because of Art Garfunkle going out on the movies.
And I'm sure that's the reason for the breakup. So, okay, let's go ahead and get to our
Top 10.
Okay, so we have 3 honorable mentions. 2 for me, 1 for you. Your 1, Slip Sliding Away.
Why didn't you like that one? Slip sliding away now.
You know,
Is that one of the ways to leave your lover? Slip sliding away.
It was, you know, when it's sliding away, how do you slide?
How do you slide away? That is,
The slipping is one thing.
yeah.
But you like.
I mean, that means it's winter, and when you're leaving,
Well,
like,
you've seen those things in your backyard. You put them.
oh yeah, the water slide.
And you slide down a thing. But yeah, you have to. Yeah, it's not good. You want to intentionally slide on that, not slip and then slide down. I'm sure there's YouTube videos on that. It's too almost
laid back?
too laid back for me. Yeah. Okay, mine are Allergies, which wasn't really a hit, but I actually like how it sounds. And then The Sound of Silence, and I'll tell you what, Bridge Over Troubled Water and Sound of Silence are probably the 2 biggest hits from them. And they are hard to listen to on the radio. Sound of Silence has actually
become a meme. It's been used in memes.
Right.
So,
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Yes,
Is
definitely.
the best line. But there's been a couple people who have done that song better recently.
Right. Disturbed is
Yes,
the big
Disturbed
one.
is the big one.
Yeah.
He's really good. And comedian Tim Hawkins actually did it.
Okay.
And his version is kind of funny. Because his is talking about coffee.
Right.
All right, so those are my 2. So I did put The Sound of Silence in the top 10.
I
but it's hard to
did
listen
just
to.
see a debate between some people about, I think it was Ridiculousness. We were watching that, and they were debating with Stila Bremen and Rob Dyrdek. They were debating, is silence a sound? And Stila was saying it's just like black is like an absence of color. It's not color at all.
Well, you know, you've heard it.
Yeah.
Silence.
Yeah, it was definite.
It was
yeah.
definite,
When all sound is suddenly gone.
Well, yeah.
You really hear that.
When you are in a forest, you're supposed to be somewhere where suddenly all the insects stop doing their thing,
Or the leaves
Yes.
blowing. Yeah.
So yes. So I guess the answer to the question is if
it
a
is a
tree
sound.
fell and nobody was there to hear it, the answer is yes. Because even in silence, you can hear it. Okay, let's get to the top 10. Number 10, coming from One Trick Pony. My number 12. I don't care for this one as much. I couldn't even tell you something about the song that's interesting.
Okay.
But your number 9. It's at the tail end. It's called One Trick Pony.
I like the instruments behind it. Really.
No, I think you're probably thinking of Late in the Evening because I rewatched the videos. One Trick Pony does not really have that.
I thought that's one song.
No, the one that has all the horns. That's Late in the Evening. That's a really good song.
All right,
But
maybe
One
that
Trick
is-
Pony.
But
not so much.
you're probably right. But I did listen to One Trick Pony just a couple hours ago, and I really liked it.
Okay.
The drums were doing something really cool.
Yeah.
and
Now,
I thought the
have
drums were
you watched the movie though?
years and years ago, long time ago.
Because it's funny. I mean, it's not like he was a.
It was 1980, so B-52s were in it before they were really famous because Love Shack was 89.
I would, and
They had already done Rock Lobster.
I would still think Paul Simon was bigger than the B-52s. So him playing a has
Yeah, no, he wasn't playing himself. He was
I know,
playing a
but
guy
calling him has been.
He was playing a guy named Judah something
Right.
or other.
Yeah. Okay, but anyways, One Trick Pony, number 10. And that was right at turn of the next decade, 1980. Number 9, coming from There Goes Ryman Simon. And I guess you would get that.
If you're a songwriter, and yes, your name.
Well, and what's funny is he's called this in 1973 for this song, Kodachrome. But the song that does all the rhymes came 2 years later.
Oh, right.
Okay, but anyways, Kodachrome at number 9. My number 8, your number 12. I don't know that I even would have had this in my top 10 list, except for a month ago. I heard this song 3 times in the same week. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess. Because it's funny, when you hear a song on the radio as opposed to just on the CD, it does affect your opinion on the song because you heard it on the radio. I don't know why that is. It's like a phenomenon. Suddenly, hey, it's famous. Anyways, okay, what is a Kodachrome?
I don't know what a Kodachrome is.
Sounds like it has to do with, like a camera, like Polaroid.
Kodak.
Okay, number 8, coming from Still Crazy After All Those Years. So he's admitting he's crazy.
Yep.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we don't have asylums anymore.
My number 14, so I don't like this even worse than One Trick Pony. You have it at 6, Gone at Last. And this is the one, it pretty much sounds like a gospel-driven song.
Yeah, and this was written because of his divorce.
Yes.
She's gonna last.
and he's singing it like a praise song. Yeah!
Hallelujah.
Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Okay, number 7, coming from Bookends. Funny, the cover of them. What are they supposed to be bookends? They're the bookends. Here's my bookends, Simon and Garfunkle on each side. My number 9, your number 10, Hazy Shade of Winter. And I'm going to tell you right now, between this week and next week, we're going to see that people who redo 70s songs have the better versions.
I don't hate this song though. It's pretty good.
Yes, I understand, but version-wise, do you like theirs or the Bengals?
The Bengals better, but when I was going to listen to it, I thought it was going to be so much more folksy than it is. It's almost like the cover, almost.
Yeah.
So,
But again, when somebody from the '80s took a song, they made it better because they used instruments that people didn't use in the past. All right, number 6, coming from Bridge Over Troubled Waters. My number 5, your number 8. It is The Boxer. That makes it. You know what? Would that song have been as good?
I don't know.
If they didn't have the.
Yeah.
You take that out, it probably would not make
yeah.
our list. It would just be "Lie, Lie, Lie." It sounds like a
And I guess
lullaby.
that was an accident of them adding that at the end. They
Yeah.
weren't going to have it.
Right. And now there is a movie called The Boxer.
Yeah.
I think I watched.
Is that John Voight?
No,
Okay.
not John Voight. Who's not Joaquin Phoenix? Who's the other guy? Daniel Day Thomas. Daniel Day Lewis.
Okay.
Yeah, he played it, but it's obviously an English film. But I watched that. Number 5, coming from One Trick Pony. So we got 2 songs from that album. Which album would you buy?
Graceland, probably.
Still Graceland, yes.
Yeah,
Which did win a Grammy.
yeah.
Now, I don't know if Still Crazy After All These Years might have won a Grammy too, probably. Because he has at least like 3 Grammys. Okay, from One Trick Pony, my number 6, your number 5, it is Late in the Evening. And it's got what you said with the guitar riffs and then all the instruments of the trombone, trumpet, whatever, saxophone that you're using. It is a good song. I'm surprised I don't hear that one on the radio more.
Right.
That'd be the one song I want to hear on the radio more. Okay, number 4, coming from Bookends. Your number 3, my number 4. Could have been number 3. Now, I looked in my book about the top 40 hits. The reason I put this one below 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover. Both of them were number 1s for 3 weeks. His solo song was on the chart as a whole 1 week longer.
Okay.
So Mrs. Robinson is number 4. And good song. It helps The Graduate, obviously.
All right. Is the whole song like? I saw the movie, so I just remember the do 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 do. Is that part of the song?
It is.
Okay,
It is.
so
Yeah, and I think they have another. Is Bridge Over? No, Bridge Over Troubled Water or Sound of Silence in that movie too. Do they have multiple songs?
no, Bridge Over Troubled Waters before just when
Okay.
they were breaking up.
All right. Okay. But anyways, that's our number, and that would be our highest ranked Simon and Garfunkel song, and it is. It's catchy. All right, number 3, coming from Still Crazy After All These Years. My number 3, your number 4, so I like this one better than that one. And it's 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover. Now I will say
There are not 50 in the song. I can
yes,
tell you that.
I will say that's what makes it disappointing.
They-
I want to hear
all 50.
all 50.
Yes.
But apparently he let his son do the rhymes.
Okay.
You know, picking out names. Get on,
Yeah,
get
and
on the bus, guys.
Yeah, they're lame.
They are lame. But I remember when we were in elementary school hearing it and thought it was cool.
Yeah, I mean it is cool, but I'm just saying the ways to leave your lover.
Yes.
Okay, and you could only leave your lover depending on what your name is. Right?
That's true.
You can roll, Joel.
Yeah, and here's the thing: is he saying, is it a forever goodbye? Because I leave.
You can leave. Yeah.
I leave to work every
Daily,
day,
yeah, okay.
and then I come back. All right, number 2, and I'm sure you've noticed we have not actually had any songs from Graceland, even though that's the album we would buy.
Yeah, because they're
That's
on the top.
because it's the top 2.
Yes.
Both of us put this song at number 2. From Graceland, it's "The Boy in the Bubble."
Yes, and this is not based on the movie with Jake Gyllenhaal. Is it Jake? No, is it Gyllenhaal or Gyllenhaal?
I think it's Gyllenhaal, but
I always said Gyllenhaal, but somebody said it was.
Gyllenhaal. I
Yeah.
don't know. So he's in
Yeah.
a movie called "The Boy in the Bubble." I knew
Yes,
there was a movie.
yeah, it's a beginning movie for him,
Okay.
and it's. I'm sure it's stupid.
No, but there, to me, more famous is there's that episode of Seinfeld where there's a kid behind the plastic bubble. I think it was played by David Cross.
Okay.
And George went down to visit him, and he punctured
Oh,
the rooms, the sealed room he was in. That's what I like.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I remember I mentioned this. There was a song that I referenced that sounded just like this one.
Yeah, and you can clearly hear the African sounds. And,
Yes.
And references in the song.
Right.
I like that. The
And the
odd sounds.
I do like the
theater.
I do like the video that goes along with it. Too.
Yeah,
it's
it's-
mostly animated.
It's sort of animated.
So,
It's,
yeah.
it's like
It's like Peter Gabriel's videos. It's
yeah.
not total
It's
animation.
like a stop motion almost.
Yes. All right. And then that leads us to number 1, which you guys knew would be our number 1. That's "You Can Call Me Al," which I want to say it's a comeback song, but he did have some top 10 songs earlier in the decade. So it was only like a 5-year gap between hits. So I can't really call this a comeback song. But
And this is one.
it was 1 year after "We Are the World," so maybe that's why.
And this is one where when you hear it, there are so many. You sing to it, right? You can always.
Yes.
You know the line that's gonna come out. You know if somebody said sing it now, you couldn't do it. But when he's singing, you can sing with him because you're like, oh yeah, it's coming up. You
Right.
Duck back down the alleyway. The hits and
Yeah.
allegations.
I know.
Yeah, you know all those.
If this would be a cool song to memorize, but the one part that I always love to hear
the bass.
is the bass.
Turn it up.
And if he can really play the bass like that, that's a pretty good bass player.
yes. So the question is, well, after you hear this, is why am I soft in the middle?
How old was he at the time? 'Cause I'll tell you what. So Brian Wilson just died. He was 82.
Okay.
Paul Simon's 83.
Okay.
So he's up there. Anyways, all right. So that's our top 10 for Paul Simon, which includes the Simon. How many Simon and Garfunkels did we have? I think 3.
Fine. Oh, I was gonna say
The
half.
Boxer, Shade of Winter, Mrs. Robinson. So we
Okay.
did have 3 of their songs in. If you don't disagree, or if you disagree that we have Sound of Silence or Bridge of Troubled Water, they didn't make it. Yo, go listen to his solo stuff. He clearly got better, because they were really what, like a folksy
Yeah.
type style music,
Yeah.
and that is an acquired
And that
taste.
was the day and age because they were really popular back then. So people like that kind of stuff.
Yep. Yeah. But anyways, so like we already said, our next group will be the Beach Boys. Other than Brian Wilson, can you name any of the other guys? I know there were 3 brothers and 2 other guys that were related, but yeah. By the way, Phillips is not part of the Beach Boys.
No.
Mamas and the Papas.
Yeah, Mamas and the Papas, but the Beach Boys did a couple of Mamas and Papas songs.
Yes.
So they obviously knew each other, which is why the Wilson Phillips
Joined together.
they knew each other obviously
Right.
through that connection.
Yeah, and their career didn't last nearly as long.
No, it was like a 5-year span, I think.
And again, another band that.
All their hits were on 2 or 3 CDs. That was pretty much it.
But I'm talking about the Beach Boys. That is a comeback song.
Yeah.
When they did Kokomo, they were out of it for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, they did have a few 80s songs, but they lingered around the 20s.
The funniest thing about the Wilson Phillips is when SNL would portray them, they would always have Chris Farley as the one.
The large one.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyways, another SNL reference today. Okay, but that's next video will be the Beach Boys, and yeah, will you agree with our top 10 there? Will it have anything you don't recognize? Because a slew of hits, but there's only 10 you ever hear on the radio,
Yeah,
right?
so when we do the Beach Boys, we'll have
Fun, fun, fun. All right.
Till your daddy takes the T-bird
I
away.
didn't hear it. Listen to the rest of the lyrics.
That's how it is. Till your daddy takes the T-bird away,
Okay.
which is a car, right?
Yes. All right. We'll see you then.
Bye.